Yes. Roughly 1 month away, folks, from the tip-off to the NBA season. I'm your host, Nick Dais, here with the New York Knicks report for Chat Sports TV. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, you are doing it all wrong. YouTube.com/Chat Sports TV. Just click that subscribe button in the video below. Make sure you give us a thumbs up for this video as well. At The Lamb Show is where you can find me on all social media outlets. And here are the 5 things all Knicks fans should be very excited about for 2019. Tipping us off, the number 1 pick, well, the first round pick for the New York Knicks, number 3 overall, RJ Barrett, baby. The number 3 pick in the 2019 NBA draft. Had some growing pains in Summer League. Let's not beat around the bush. Looked absolutely horrible in that first game. I think it was more so all the attention being on the rematch between the two college homies, between Zion and RJ. It was the first time playing at an NBA level, and it seemed like the spotlight and the speed was a little too much for young RJ. But towards the tail end of Summer League, he started to pick up and showed flashes as an elite ball handler on the wing for the New York Knicks. Has some superstar upside. A lot of people in the industry are talking up RJ Barrett as potentially being the best player in the NBA draft. Currently has the 3rd best odds to win Rookie of the Year. Consensus around all sports books that you might be looking at. He no longer, I think this is the biggest reason why I'm overly excited for one RJ Barrett. He no longer has that shadow of Zion Williamson at Duke. Everything ran through Zion at Duke. When RJ would take shots at end of games, even though he was the better scorer than Zion Williamson and a more efficient scorer than Zion Williamson, people were just bashing the kid on Twitter like, yo, why not give the ball to Zion? Why are you hogging up the spotlight? And that's completely false. I think RJ without Zion over there, he clearly is, and the Knicks want him to be the face of the organization going forward. He also, this is the biggest thing for me, he's excited about playing for New York. A lot of people are not built for New York media because it is harsh. When you drop 30 points a game, they're going to praise you. When you go 4 for 18 from the field, they're going to destroy you. So it seems like his ego and his persona is going to be able to handle the New York media. I want you guys to weigh in below. What are your expectations for one RJ Barrett in year 1 as a rookie with the New York Knicks? Player number 2 we should be excited about. And yes, Knicks fans, stop me if you've heard this before. The Frenchman, Frank Ntilikina, Frenchie Frank, had an impressive tournament for FIBA. And look, a lot of times what FIBA and the World Cup and the Olympics has become for some of these guys in the NBA is a jumpstart to a stellar season. If you look over the history of the league, James Harden, his first season with the Rockets that he became an MVP candidate, it was coming off a U.S. men's team run. These guys play competitive basketball. It's different playing in the park and playing at Rucker Park and dropping 60 points a game on some dudes that you've never heard of. But when you're playing at a high level like this, and also the practices that you're involved with, look, they're all alpha males. They want to one-up each other when they do these one-on-ones. So these guys take that momentum from their national teams and it catapults them into having pretty solid campaigns for their NBA team. In the tournament for the French, he averaged 8.9 points per game, close to 9 points per game, 2.4 rebounds per game, and 2.6 assists per game. Basically, his NBA averages, with the exception being he scored more points with the French team than he did with the New York Knicks. His NBA averages are 5.9, 2.2, and 3.1 assists per game. Like we mentioned, he had a very impressive showing with the French team. Even balled up and D'd up on Kemba Walker, which sent entire Knicks Twitter on an absolute frenzy. The one issue I have with Frank Ntilikina is he needs to not only develop an offensive game, he also needs to take smarter shots. He takes a lot of dumb shots. He tries to be a playmaker when he really isn't. He should just stick to what he knows, stick to what he's best at. And I think Frank Ntilikina is a guy that we should be a little bit excited for, especially if we follow this trend of guys playing for their national team and then that translating into them having stellar campaigns with their NBA team. Next up, another reason why we should be excited for the 2019 NBA season for the New York Knicks is Kevin Knox. Kevin Knox last year had a high usage rate amongst rookies in the 2018-2019 season, and it seemed like he wasn't able to handle it for many reasons. One, carried the injury bug pretty much the entire rookie campaign. Now he has another year under his belt where he knows that, oh shit, I gotta play 82 games this year. Let me be able to understand, rest, and relax, and the proper treatment I need to sustain my body over an 82 season. Had a lot of expectations coming into year one because, look, anyone that gets drafted by the New York Knicks, people are anointing them NBA all-rookie first-teamers. And if you have a couple of good games or show some flashes, people are going to be overly excited. The bar was set too high for one Kevin Knox, but I like what I saw in Summer League. Shot very, very well from the three-point line. If that's another dimension he could be consistent at, look, we're not asking you to be Steph Curry. Give us 38% from three. Give us 38%. Sign me up. Give us that. If you can shoot over 40%, fine. With this new modern NBA where you got to stretch the floor and you need shooters from the outside, Kevin Knox adds that to his game. It'll be sensational for the Knicks. I think he is one of the most, if not the most important factor for this Knicks young core going forward because, look, we've kind of seen what Dennis Smith Jr. is. We are very, very satisfied with what Mitchell Robinson is. And the potential superstar upside of RJ Barrett is getting us excited. But Kevin Knox needs to be that third or fourth best player on this team. And most importantly, needs to earn the trust of the coaching staff and the rest of his teammates and the Garden faithful. If we can rely on Kevin Knox to be a consistent NBA solid starter, the sky's the limit for this Knicks team. Which translate to this, the Knicks young core. The Knicks have a very young roster. Did not go crazy with the money on big name free agents because they struck out with them. The biggest free agent that they signed was Julius Randle. Kind of falls under a young core. This dude is still young, still balling out, improved every single season in the NBA. But the young core I'm really honing in on is RJ Barrett, Kevin Knox, Dennis Smith Jr., and Mitchell Robinson. You have your guard, you have your wing players, and you have your big that is an absolute stallion on the defensive end. And I think if all these guys can hit their ceiling for how high, I know Knicks fans, we tend to be a little bit delusional, but a lot of people in the NBA and other fan bases are singing the praises of some of these players as well. And I think if all these guys hit their ceiling, I think the Knicks can be a serious contender sooner rather than later if all these guys hit their ceiling. So, my question to you guys, let us know in the comments below. If all goes well, what is the ceiling for this core of players? The core four that I mentioned, Dennis Smith Jr., RJ Barrett, Kevin Knox, and Mitchell Robinson for the Knicks. Championship? 8th seed, not making the playoffs, host a first round playoff series. Let me know what you guys think the absolute ceiling is for this New York Knicks core. Speaking of this young core, the last player we'll be spotlighting here is Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson, potential All-NBA Defensive Player of the Year, All-NBA Defensive First teamer, second teamer, who knows? But if you stretch out his numbers over an 82-game season, they're up there with Rudy Gobert. The one thing he needs to improve on, rebounding, number one, because rebounding numbers are pretty bad for a guy of his size and his impact on the defensive end. 2.4 blocks per game. Has to improve his defensive rebounding and also needs to stay on the floor. Not for nothing, Mitchell Robinson found himself in a lot of foul trouble last season. Anytime this guy played in games, averaged about 2.4 blocks per game. But the biggest issue was, number one, the Knicks wanted to tank, so they kept throwing the corpse of DeAndre Jordan out there. And number two, this guy would get in foul trouble anytime he was playing well. So he is lining up to be the potential steal of last year's NBA draft. Right? Got him in the second round, had some character issues coming out of college, transferred schools and whatnot. So Mitchell Robinson might be a diamond in the rough for the New York Knicks. Last but not least, another thing we should be excited about if we are looking into the 2019-2020 New York Knicks is Fizdale's kids and the MSG crowd. Look, MSG is always going to be rocking. It is one of the most expensive tickets in the game. And I don't mean just the NBA game, across the board. Because it's the world's most famous arena, people treat MSG like a tourist destination. And then us New Yorkers end up paying $180 to watch them play the Hawks, who also have 18 wins and sit in the last row in the 400s. It sucks. It sucks living in New York if you're a sports fan because you are going to pay a lot of money even if the team sucks. And I'm talking about the Knicks. It's not been pleasant for us Knicks fans the last decade. With all that being said, second season of David Fizdale. We need to see some improvements, right? Let's not win 17 games again this year. The over-under in many sports books across the board, 28.5 wins. Rebuilding through the draft. And they got a piece in Julius Randle who was gonna be a bargain for what these guys are getting paid every single year. New player sets a new market. This guy is gonna be a bargain in a couple of years. Close to $20 million a season. Sign me up for a guy who's only getting better and is younger and is healthy in the NBA, like Julius Randle. The Garden faithful, they're overly optimistic going into this season, so let's see how that's going to turn out. And I think Fizdale is a good coach, but year two, like we said, very important, show some strides, and he has the pieces that he wants. Pivotal player in selecting these guys to come to the New York Knicks. So let's put up or shut up. Let's see some improvements from Fizdale's kids and the New York Knicks. I want you guys to tell me as we wrap up this episode of the New York Knicks Report, what are your expectations for Fizdale as a coach in year two with the New York Knicks? At The Lamb Show is where you can find me on all social media outlets, and we'll catch you guys next time on the New York Knicks Report.